Hi, and welcome to Who Knew. I'm glad you found us. This is an experiment, a project, a labor of love, if you will. We are fans of Doctor Who, and especially the 2005 version of Doctor Who. And this is about around the 10-year anniversary of when that version premiered. So we thought that we would embark on this endeavor to rewatch the episodes. Not that we ever need an excuse to rewatch episodes, but we thought it'd be fun. And I thought it'd also be fun to consolidate some of my friends as opposed to hanging out separately and recreating conversations and just having a good time watching these again. This is our first episode. Our theme music is brought to us by Michael Grady, and we thank him so much. You can find his work at theuniverseexplodes.com. You can also find this podcast in several places. Follow us on Twitter at whonewpodcast. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and our YouTube channel. All our episodes are going to be up on whonewpodcast.com. And you can leave comments there or email us at whonewpodcast@gmail.com. Who Knew Podcast is new without a K. WHONEW. Who Knew. So enjoy, and let's go. Oh, hello. Hello, faithful viewers. Welcome to our first episode of Who Knew. How can we have faithful viewers at this point if this is our first episode of an audio podcast, you might ask? Well, time travel is funny that way. So hop in with me, or hop in the TARDIS with me, and come back with us to an ancient year of 2005. Today is 2015, and we're recording live in Hollywood, California. It's been 10 years since the new incarnation of Doctor Who came back onto television and introduced our favorite Time Lord to a whole new generation. We are here to talk about the episode Rose, which aired on March 26, 2005. My name is Eugene, and I will be your moderator for this podcast. I was introduced to Doctor Who way back in 1996 with the Paul McGann TV movie, and then I was introduced to this new version of Doctor Who through my friend Brian, who will be talking to us later. We'll go around. There's several of us here. Let's start.
Hi, my name is Arlene, and I was introduced to Doctor Who by our moderator, Eugene. I think hasn't even been that long. I think it was 2013. So I'm a fairly new viewer. I love sci-fi, so this was just right down my alley. It just took me a while to actually really get into it because, believe it or not, some of the stuff I find super unbelievable, and I cannot go with some of the villains. But I was introduced by watching one episode to start with, and that was the girl in the fireplace.
Yay. Hi, my name is Brian, and before I got Eugene into Doctor Who, Eugene got me into Doctor Who because we used to work together, and he had a screener of Torchwood's pilot from Comic-Con, I believe. And so I watched that, and that I found out was a spin-off of Doctor Who, which got us interested in Doctor Who. So we watched the Captain Jack episodes of Doctor Who from season 3, and then we jumped back to season 1 and started from the beginning, and I haven't stopped since.
Hi, I'm Frank, and I guess I went back to Doctor Who in the 70s with the Fourth Doctor, and that's how
me too.
I got into it. And then when the new Doctor was starting, I started to watch Rose and turned it off. I was like, it just didn't grab me at the time. And then when we were going to watch Torchwood, we thought, well, at least let's find out who this new guy is going to be, the Captain Jack. So we watched his episode so we knew what Torchwood was about, and then, along with Brian, started watching Rose again with new eyes and knowing what was going to be coming along.
What are we talking about?
Star Wars.
Who knows what we're talking about?
My name's Josh, and I think I started watching maybe 2012, maybe it was 2013, but everyone was talking about the new Doctor Who, and it was on Netflix, and I'm like, yeah. Is that old, I would think of Tom Baker. The only Doctor Who reference I had was Tom Baker on the cover of Starlog, and I didn't even watch Doctor Who back then. It just seemed like this weird, cheesy, old show, but then everyone said how good it was, and I liked that actor, Chris Eccleston. Is it Eccleston or Eggleston? Eccleston. And then eventually I got around to watching it on Netflix, and then I was just hooked because it just had, which we'll talk about, what I have in my notes. The pace just grabbed me, and I knew it was going to be silly, and boy, is this episode silly in some parts. So, but I don't know, I just kept going, and because binge watching had just started, it was very easy to just keep going. And one thing I realized when I was binge watching, even just recently, that there's a lot of cross dual storyline episodes, or when
Two-parters?
there's a lot of two-parters and three-parters. So it got to the end of the season, and I'm like, wait, only a few things happened, and then I realized, oh, this is a to be continued, and this is a to be continued. So, and then all of a sudden, I was hooked.
My name is Auburn, and Eugene was the one that got me into Doctor Who. We were at a friend's house, and you put it on. I don't know if it was prompted by anything, but it was the first episode, Rose, and that's what we'll be talking about tonight.
Very good. Let's start with some stats on Rose. It was written by Russell the Davies. It was directed by Keith Boak. I hope I'm saying that right. And I said earlier that it aired on March 2005, and it is considered the first episode of Series 1, even though Doctor Who has been going on previous to that. It got 10.81 million viewers, and 4 days after Rose aired, it was renewed for a Christmas special and a second series.
Oh, wow.
It got 10 million viewers in the UK? It has to be in the UK. That's amazing.
This is from the internet, so it has to be accurate.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'll just start with what happens in the beginning. We meet Rose Tyler, and she is a girl who works in a shop, but she is not a shop girl. She just happens to be working in a shop. And some stuff happens throughout her day, and she meets the doctor in the belly of the shop, where she's surrounded by a bunch of creepy mannequins. And
They have the creepiest mannequins in the United Kingdom. Those things are terrifying, even if they weren't alive.
I like them. They sold me on the show.
And weirdly enough, all the mannequins were male.
No, there's
No,
a-
There
a
was
couple
very
women.
few female. But at a department store, how many male mannequins do you see and how many female mannequins do you see?
The ratio was off.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
but there are female mannequins.
Like 5 out of the hundreds.
I don't understand why all of Britain has the same mannequin.
Yes, that's a good
Every
point.
store has the exact same mannequin.
Is
brand.
it really like that?
Well, in the show,
Well, no,
Oh,
in
I've
this
never
show.
been to England. So
in this episode anyway. So that's where she meets the doctor, and his introduction to us as the viewer is simply run. He grabs her by the hand and says, run.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
agree.
doctor.
And that's what got me. And it was fairly early in the episode too. Like,
Yeah,
it
it's
really
right
kicks
away.
in fast. As soon as she has her day, like you said, and then she goes looking for the guy. She can't find him, and then all of a sudden, she does the stupid white girl move where no one would go in there except her. And then she's looking for the guy, and then she starts to get attacked, and it's creepy. And then there he is, and he just says, "Run!" And then they run, and it's just that's sort of like, to me, the pace of the show, the whole series, not just even this episode.
Well, true, because run becomes sort of a theme of the series as a whole. Right,
A lot of running.
there's a lot.
And I kind of felt like, as cheesy as the mannequins were coming at her, that you don't have time to even question how cheesy anything is because everything just keeps happening.
I didn't think it was cheesy. I thought it was creepy.
Yeah,
I mean, I
creepy.
did think that they got a good creepy factor.
It was definitely
Yes.
creepy, but they're doing the robot, and
And the first
is
time I
true.
watched it, that's why I think I stopped, was because I did think it was cheesy.
yeah, I mean,
But once you
I can see
get
that.
more
It
into
had-
Doctor Who, then you get the crazy.
exactly.
It
had the
becomes charming.
It had the Michael Myers, creep factor, but it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they looked silly. and then like I said, the robot, the way that they were walking, which I don't understand why if plastic just comes to life, they act robotically. To me, that doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, they would have been more fluid.
Like
the trash can.
But yeah, but then just everything just keeps happening. And one thing I noticed watching it tonight was just that he's always like one step ahead of everyone. No one ever has time to question anything he's doing. So anything throughout the series is just, you don't have time to question how silly something is because everyone wholeheartedly believes it, and the sincerity of their acting. I think it's just the way that the British shows are. When they're silly, they don't act silly at all.
I don't know. You can go into it where the mannequins are hard plastic, so they're not going to move like the trash can, which is more rubbery plastic.
I know.
It's going to have that bounce back. And I know that sounds silly, but you're
Well, if they're going to have bounce back, then they're rubber, not plastic.
But they wouldn't even technically have joints in that one spot. They have no internal mechanism.
True, they're able
That's all
to
I'm
build up
saying.
the whole thing. So.
All right.
They're,
So
they're silly, but you're discussing the consistency of living plastic.
Exactly.
So
which we all know
I think
is
they made
fluid.
a point.
Which is what my podcast, which is what I'd like to advertise. My podcast is about fluid plastic.
So after
It's a spin-off of The Graduate.
One part at the beginning that I really liked was the music that they had over the whole show. The introduction, her running around doing her job, and it changed to the muzak in the department store when she goes to work, and you just have this as a background music. I love that.
That was great.
Yeah. It really helps set up the world and helps us relate to Rose as a character because we all know what it's like to work our first job and like
Monotonous.
yeah, it's just her daily
It's
work.
not a bad job.
Yeah.
It's just a boring
It's
job.
just a job that she's not going to be there the whole time and this is what I have to do and what can I do to make this go the quickest? And in this case, the quickest is to meet a time-traveling alien.
Especially when you get the most annoying boyfriend in the world.
Well, he starts off that way.
He starts off that way. I even wrote that down. I was like, Mickey goes from the most annoying. What did I write?
Spoilers.
Well, that's
yeah.
I'll say if you do watch this episode and you haven't watched any of the other ones later, Mickey goes from the most annoying to the most cool in a span of like just a couple seasons. So
that is true.
But he's incredibly annoying.
he's
in
really
this
Yeah,
annoying.
like the first episode, I agree.
I mean, it was
But
the first
that
episode, so you are trying to figure out who the characters are.
Yeah.
I have a
Also,
feeling
it's-
going, okay,
it's-
how we're going to go
Since
with
it
this.
was a first episode, they're really trying to introduce a lot.
Yeah.
So he needed to be the.
You also
he
needed a
to be
reason-
the stay away
Yeah.
from the scary doctor.
I think, and now that I'm
character.
thinking about it, I think you needed a reason why she wouldn't stay
Yes.
with her boyfriend.
Exactly. Yeah.
You need to understand, like, she really has nothing there.
It's also that she just works in a department store. So
she
just
lost
like
her
anybody
job.
can go with the doctor, but this is showing not anybody can go if the way Mickey reacts.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not just anybody, but you have to bring something. Her idea about the college students because that's the only ones you can get.
Yes.
to do.
And that's the moment. That's the moment when he's
doctor
intrigued.
said, "Okay, there's something here."
Yeah.
And the only thing that questions her intelligence is she doesn't notice Mickey's plastic hair.
Right.
Doesn't
I
even
think we're
question.
getting ahead of ourselves. So the doctor saves. Well, he doesn't save the department store because that blows up. But he does
He
save.
blows it up.
Yeah, but he does save Rose from.
It doesn't say Wilson, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He was
Poor
already-
Wilson.
Well, Wilson
He's
is.
off squeezing the Charmin in heaven.
Well, he's also with
Wait,
Tom Hanks on
I
an
got that
island, so Wilson's probably better off. Anyway, after that, there's some sort of. She goes back home, and the mom. I forgot.
Jackie.
Jackie is Rose's mom.
Who is very annoying and becomes very fantastic later.
True.
I
But she's
never think
annoying
she's
in a funny
fantastic.
way in this episode.
Yeah, she's not Mickey annoying. She's
Yeah.
funny annoying. She's that.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
love
another thing
Jackie
with
by
this-
the end.
But this incarnation of the doctor in the story, he now has the family members to contend with.
Yeah.
I don't remember that being
I
in
don't
the
think
lot
he
of the
ever
other-
did in the
classic.
original.
any of the other
No, I
ones.
don't remember that at all either.
So just adding that dynamic.
Being on Earth was
There
great.
are consequences to somebody, and they have ties. There are. other
Well, yeah,
people
this whole
behind.
series, as crazy as some of the stories end up getting, it is always very relatable.
Right.
Yes.
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 So they're back at their flat.
That's an apartment.
Yes, that's also because they have to take a lift to get to the flat.
That's an elevator. What do they call an escalator in Britain?
Lift.
Moving stairs. I don't know. Anyway, they're back at it's the next day because all of this happens at night, and the doctor is still looking into what caused these mannequins to come alive or something. He's doing some detecting. And so his detecting leads him back to Rose's and Jackie's apartment.
He's tracking it.
He's tracking the arm.
He's tracking an
'cause
arm.
Rose kept an arm.
Yeah.
Because there was
Plastic arm.
a Terminator 2 scene where they're in an elevator, and then the arm goes through, and then they escape. So that mannequin's arm is taken back to Jackie's flat, and that's where the doctor tracks the alien back to thing. And then from there, we kind of get into some hijinks and some gags where this is something I wanted to point out.
Well, it's also the first moment we get a reference to the doctor. Because the doctor's looking in a mirror
Yes.
at that
Right.
point, and
That's
he
what I was-
says, "Look
yeah.
at the ears."
And I never caught that before.
Yeah.
But it hints that he's recently regenerated.
Yeah.
And then he does a
at
thing
least
with
he
the
hasn't
cards.
seen himself in a
And,
mirror
and it makes me
before.
want to think which I won't spoil, but
Yeah,
like the
don't,
future
yeah.
of when we.
But even within this episode, they
Yeah.
show this doctor in 3 other time periods.
Right, but
Yeah.
I thought
Which
that at
is
first, but then I
frustrating.
realized, well, that could happen later. He's going back in time.
It could happen,
But
but it
Rose
also
isn't there,
well, let's-
or in the pictures or anybody.
Let's
Well, yeah,
wait
but-
to go
well,
back
I have
to
a
that.
theory on that,
Why don't we
but I'll
wait
get
to
to
go
it.
back? Because
Oh, we have to follow directions.
yeah.
Okay.
So when like other than the ears, he does this thing with the cards, and then he doesn't do it, and he's like, okay, I guess.
Cards? What?
Yeah, he like
tries to
shuffles
do
them.
like a,
Oh, that's
Oh, I think I was
And-
making a note.
Yeah, and then he goes, oh, maybe not this time, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, am I good with cards? Am I good with magic? And then he's like, okay, no, not now.
I never got that
Yeah.
before. I want to believe that's totally what he's doing.
Yeah, because he does it once, and he's like, okay, maybe this is it, and he does it again, and then the cards fly all over the room, and he's like, okay, maybe not this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
that's
it.
cool.
And then through
so it
that,
is recently.
Yeah,
So
it's a
I'm guessing
recent-
that's the previous doctor did magic.
see that I
Or-
don't know. I don't know.
Oh no, I think
sounds
he's just
very,
trying.
Okay.
I think
Maybe
he's just
he's
trying
always
something
wanted
out.
to do magic.
Yeah.
But it could. I think it sounds very Second Doctor to me. That The
Okay.
Second Doctor
Oh,
would be
really?
able to do.
But I think
something
he's
like
also like we just said, he could be getting used to this new body. He doesn't
Yeah.
know. He's
Right.
trying everything out, just like, oh, I'm probably not ginger this time.
that. Right? Do I like jelly babies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there, he finds the mannequin's arm, and then it comes to life again, and they have a scuffle in the middle of the living room with Rose, and then he disarms it, pun intended, and it's armless again, and then Rose is fascinated by this and runs with the doctor as he exits the flat, and from here we have a kind of a great encapsulation of what the doctor is, because he's saying, I can feel us moving, I can,
The Earth revolving.
yeah,
Great speech.
great
got
stuff.
me.
And
I was like,
and
okay, now I'm in.
he holds her hand, and that to me wasn't needed, but it added humanity
Well,
to it.
I also think he holds her hand so she could feel it as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I can
he's
see
like
that.
transferring the feeling to her.
And then he just simply lets go, and it's to
And
me
it's
that-
gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
So the first one's free.
all right. And then
And then that's when she walks away. He gets into the TARDIS,
it
and then we hear
disappears. Yeah, we
the
hear
TARDIS for the first time in the new series
Yes,
fading away, and yet
And
they
it's
don't
still-
show it.
that's great.
And I love that.
And
I
it's
love
also
that they
the same.
don't show
It's
it.
also the same sound.
Yes.
They didn't
the same
update
sound,
it.
yeah.
Which is great.
After watching some of the later ones, I think the relationship, the chemistry, the rapport between the Doctor and Rose is just incredible. Like that first walk, that long shot where they're walking and talking. I mean, we don't see that very often again.
Right.
Spoilers, but
I think, and the Doctor's really perky in the beginning of that walk. He's just like,
He
I
is-
blew it up. Ha ha.
he's
Yeah,
really
I-
gleeful the whole
Yeah.
episode.
I really got a kick out of how that he's just he gets such a kick out of everything.
Yeah.
It seems, and he carries that for a little while on and off. I think.
Yeah.
You know, he's real black and white, real hot and cold. This Doctor is.
What I like about this doctor, though, is that you can see more emotion out of him. So, like, as things evolve throughout the series, you see, like, there's a lot of bad things happening, so he gets darker. So he's being more human, I feel, than any of the other doctors that, like, really just cut everyone out and just say, nope, I live in this world, and you don't understand because you don't live in my world.
That's also why I think he's more present, and that's why it does vacillate so quickly between happy and sad. It's like, what's going on right now? And he's like, here's this new person I can explain this stuff to. She's asking questions. This is kind of cool. Somebody's
It
getting
hasn't happened in a
interested
while.
this.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Which is
also
looking right there.
think you wouldn't get this watching the episode for the first time, but watching it again and having
And
watched
hopefully
all
you
the
have watched it for the first time, and this is not your first time watching it.
spoilers, which is a spoiler. I watched that scene now with him being so happy and grinning, but I almost see it as that there's layers to that happiness. He's faking it in a way.
Right.
In which scene is this?
The walk and talk.
walking.
Oh.
You know, where he's and it's like, he's like,
He's like convincing himself.
yes, because he's, from what we can assume from future events, he's not happy. And I think that's when the darkness comes out. That's more true.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
and
been
he
holding
is,
it back.
or it's not that he's lying, but I think he might be trying to, I need to recapture what I felt before. And I don't feel that way anymore.
Fake it till you make it type
Fake
of
it till you
thing.
make it.
Yeah.
So that's, to me,
Right.
it's
So
almost
that's what I mean by being
it's
present.
also,
It's like, okay,
yeah,
let's
it's
do this
almost
because he is dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
And it's always there. And he doesn't want to dwell in it. So he is focusing even more so, like a hyper focus over what's going on and be a little bit more happy.
And Eccleston does it great. I just think he does
I
that
agree.
fantastic because, well, I didn't mean to say that word, but it fits. He's just so good at doing that because it can flip on a dime, because 10 seconds later, he's talking about the rotation of the earth and how he can feel it. And you can just feel the weight of it on him.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 seconds before he was all smiley man.
Right. Well, from here, I think this ends Act 1, if you have to break it up into acts, and then Act 2, because we've already established the ordinary world of Rose, and then now we're moving into this new world. So what she does next in Act 2, she goes and looks up on the internet about this doctor, and she types in Dr. Blue Box, and then she finds this website.
Doctor Who?
Right. And which leads her to this guy called Clive.
I thought that was a very clever device. Well, it's what anyone would do in 2005.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a very clever device at how she got to him. And
With the big monitor.
With the tube
She's
monitor.
come a long way. in
Yeah.
10 years.
right.
And then so they go to this guy's house, Clive, and I mean, it's...
Who's very Welsh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I mean, I love the kid. His
Another
son.
nutter.
another nut.
And then the wife, a she? And then from there, Clive starts to, he takes her to the shed, which seems like you shouldn't go into a shed. You shouldn't go into a basement. You shouldn't go into a shed. But he starts to explain to her his conspiracy theory, if you will. If you've never seen this before, it seems like some sort of hermit in a conspiracy theory shed. And he starts to show Rose photos and proof that this guy, this doctor, has been around for a long time. And I'm sorry, but that Photoshop really bugged me.
It bugged me too. It's a really
I've seen
bad
that
photo.
Photoshop even now. I mean, they don't seem to ever be able to get it quite
Yeah,
right.
we're referring to a JFK Assassination Day photo with the doctor in the crowd. And
Like, why is he looking at the camera that's taking the
yes,
picture?
why? It's so weird.
But it is great that the first picture Clive shows her to prove the truth is from the incident that's probably the biggest conspiracy theory.
That's true.
On the planet,
I just
right?
wish that they had spent more money on the
they-
photoshopping of that.
Yeah, but you know, it's Doctor Who.
Yeah, what can you do?
At least the walls aren't rattling when they shut the door.
True.
yeah.
Um,
Spend all the money making it bigger on the inside.
But that's where it actually started to bother me, because he says, well, I took this picture. I got this picture about a week and a half ago. And
Which, the JFK picture?
No, the one that he has on the main website.
Well, that's
That
from
was
the JFK, one.
picture.
That was the
The
JFK.
JFK
It was a
picture.
focus
yeah,
on him.
it
Just
was
focused
blown
in.
up. Yeah.
But then why did he just have that one blown up?
Because that was the best, I think,
That was the cleanest.
photo.
But then
that
how did he
had.
know it was him if this is a new incarnation?
Well, that, yeah,
No,
that-
And
but
the
that's just
kind
it.
of-
Like, well, that's what we were saying earlier. Was that that's our timeline? Like so he can now continue on and go back before now.
But-
So these past photos we were seeing in the show were from his future
But yes,
I
but
have a theory.
then the thing is that we already know that the doctors knew.
Right.
But then how did he know this is the new doctor and that's the one that he's
doesn't.
supposed
He
to be
doesn't.
looking
He
for?
doesn't.
That was all,
He
I
doesn't.
think, just the
He
writing
was
to
just-
simplify to introduce the doctor to the new viewers.
Yes, I totally
Yes.
agree.
Because they only used past pictures of
The
him,
current doctor.
this current doctor, so everybody gets, oh, this guy's been around for a while.
Because we have privilege of hindsight.
Right.
he
We
does
know
say-
that there are other faces involved.
And they kind of tread the line where they say, oh, it seems to be passed down, which gives you the idea that, oh, it's different people who have the title of doctor. But then in the same conversation, they're also saying it looks like it could be
Genetic.
father to son to father
Yeah.
to son, because Rose like, oh, that must be the guy I know, this JFK one must be his father. So they're kind of hinting at both. And it's a conspiracy thing, and that Clive doesn't know. He's just trying to figure out this bizarre mystery.
Yeah, Clive stumbled across the doctor and that face, and then in trying to find more about that face, he found the face here, and he found the face here, and he found the face here.
But then that face was connected with the blue box, which I still don't understand how that face was connected with the blue box.
He had more info. He had
Because those
tons
are
of
just
stuff.
pictures. There's also other conspiracy theorists out there and other, like they said, diaries and information that had to deal with
So
the blue
it's
box,
just-
and maybe one of the other incarnations with the fourth doctor and the blue box, the third doctor, because he was around for a long time with a broken box, so he couldn't go anywhere. So I think it was tying that in, but the only pictures he was able to get was to simplify everything down for a new viewer.
Yeah.
Was of this one doctor.
I think we should go back to this later.
Okay.
This sounds like a good topic. We'll come back. So after this, at the same time, Mickey gets swallowed up by a plastic trash bin. I know that sounds silly, but that's what happens.
Yeah. And if you think the Photoshop is bad,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're working on a budget, so I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
with
fine.
his
It's
stretchy fingers.
fine.
Better
Yeah.
with
It worked.
It's fine, but
And
still.
then Rose comes out of Clive's shed and goes back into Mickey's VW bug, and Mickey is now very plasticky, not only in character development but in look. He looks that way. So after that, they go to a restaurant where Mickey tries to get information about what Rose has learned about the doctor, and the doctor comes in and basically pulls off Mickey's plastic head and causes a panic in that restaurant. From there, where are we?
Well, we have our next Terminator 2000 reference with
yes.
Mickey's hands turning into
Into a shape.
a shape.
What looked like,
Spatulas.
well, they look like pizza
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
Pizza things that you put into the oven with.
Oh, yeah. I thought of like a Phillips screwdriver
Could be that
kind
too.
of thing.
flathead.
Flathead.
Yeah.
A flathead Phillips, the other one. Screwdriver.
I think they had Mickey look that way because wasn't Doctor Who more of a kids show?
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
originals?
It's definitely a kid's show. This
And
was
to
for
me,
kids.
that
This
was
part was
more
for
juvenile,
kids.
more so they can see it a lot quicker. It's
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It gets more
Silly.
I think that would be
broad range or more adult content later on in the series. But this is going back to that.
I mean, I think Mickey getting pulled into the trash can and then it burps. I mean, that's definitely
That's
for
fun.
kids.
Yeah, that's a
I mean,
gag.
kids would
So it's
love
something we need
that.
to remember that it
Yeah.
was who their audience was at that time.
But I also love, there's one tiny little character thing in that pizza
restaurant?
shop,
Oh,
the restaurant
Yeah.
scene, that I love. And that's Rose hits the alarm to save the people.
That's true.
And it's
Yes.
brief.
Yes.
But it's just one of those things where she's kind of like the doctor, where it's like, I got to, I'm not just running out. This thing's
Yeah.
coming after me. But it's very brief. She hits the fire alarm and she tells everybody to get out.
Yes.
And then she runs. So I like that little
I
character
don't think
bit.
that's the only time it happens in this series. Spoiler.
But I mean, I think that's another reason why the doctor
Right.
can be intrigued with Rose.
Yeah.
Because, she
Because she's an active participant in the story.
In the
She's not
crisis.
passive.
And in the
She's not a
crisis, she
damsel in
sees what's
distress. Yes.
happening.
But she sees a bigger picture too.
Yes.
And it's very brief and and I like that they put that in because they didn't have to.
No, they
They
didn't.
didn't have to put that in at all. Everybody just could have run.
But they did focus on it enough for us
Yeah.
to notice. So I'm not sure, but after this, they go into an alley of the restaurant. Is that right?
They're behind the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're walking towards the TARDIS.
That's right. Okay, so they're walking, and then the doctor casually walks into the TARDIS with Mickey's plastic head, and then Rose is trying to break open
Lock
Yeah, she
gate.
said
lock
you
or
can't
something.
You can't hide in a wooden
Yeah,
box.
what's a wooden box gonna do? But this is a great moment when she finally sees that danger is approaching, and she walks into the TARDIS, and she walks back out because she can't believe what she's just seen.
And we don't see the TARDIS.
Yeah,
we don't see it. We
don't
don't know
like
what
that.
she's
I like
seen.
that too.
But the
reaction is
music
great.
change.
Yeah.
The music changes. We just see the reaction on her face.
And then she's back outside.
And then she's back out, and the music goes back to what it was on the outside.
I love that.
It was
because
so well done.
without knowing what the inside looks like, because we don't know yet.
No.
It's great to see a reaction because then your imagination runs wild, and then she goes back in, and then there it is. I don't know. I like that scene.
I love that scene.
It's a great scene.
And I like how he pauses to answer
her
some
question.
questions.
Yeah.
And that you see that Rose has the ability to handle it.
Yes. Well, it's also
I
great.
also like that the arrogance of him. Yes, it is overwhelming to see this.
Yes.
No, is Mickey dead?
Mickey dead? Yeah.
And then they mention Mickey's mother. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
I have to tell his
I have to
mother,
tell the
she
mother.
says. But then
Yeah, well,
it's not.
We'll
not
get
as-
there.
All right.
we'll get there.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Where was my
I was going to say we don't want to break the timeline, but wait, this is Doctor Who.
Yeah, this is definitely a continuation of the Doctor not being sympathetic to individual life at all. So far, he's blown up the department store. You know,
It was
he's
after hours.
yes. He's pulled off Mickey's head,
And he doesn't care about
and
Wilson.
he doesn't care
Yeah.
about Wilson. So it's definitely a different Doctor than the one that I think I remember now.
so maybe Wilson was dead
times.
because
Well,
he
Wilson-
stayed in the department store and he was going to blow it up anyway.
I wondered that every
No,
once in
no,
a while.
Wilson
I mean,
was
I
dead.
know he's dead before, but there's a part of me that's like, he was
he
just
didn't kill her.
unconscious in his office, and well, I don't have time to get him out.
The robots got him.
Sure.
I mean, yes, they did.
Because well, you don't want us to talk about the end of the show. All right, go ahead.
From here on, they use the TARDIS to track down where the signal that is, I guess, controlling the other.
It's going to activate all the plastic.
Yes.
Yeah, the
automatic
doctor
weapons.
knows that this is all
Yes.
controlled from one being.
And so they use the TARDIS to fly or transport to London Bridge? No,
The Westminster Bridge.
Westminster Bridge. That's it. The bridge. And then from there, they go into the bowels of the bridge.
Well, they have a great scene with
That's
we need
true.
a gigantic dish. It looks like a gigantic dish, and
it's staring it right-
the London
yeah.
Eye is right behind
Yeah,
him.
right
so.
behind him. He's like, what?
That might have gone on just a little too long.
I don't know. I
but
think
maybe it's because I've seen it too many
it's
times.
sort of like the
First time you watch it,
sideshow
it's still
Bob.
fun.
It's sort of like the sideshow Bob Rake joke. Like they just kept going with it to the point where. So I thought it was funny.
No, I mean, yes,
No.
it's very
And
funny.
again, it's appealing to kids because they're
Yes.
like, look behind you.
And it's also the way they edited it too. Like I thought a lot of the editing in this episode was
Oh, yeah.
really quick and snappy.
Yes,
around
very
the
good,
parts
yeah.
that would have normally been hard to believe.
And again, he takes her hand as they run across the bridge. That's a great moment.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so they're in this
He's a
sort of
homewrecker.
so they're in this sort of sewer-like layer with a very big CG molting pot of plastic.
Okay, I got a question. Why is there a vat of anything underneath that Ferris wheel?
That's the Nestine consciousness itself.
No, that's what's in the vat.
Yeah.
Why is there a vat?
It could be a water reclamation plant. I don't know.
I got the impression there was a vat that was just there to.
I think the Nestine had his autons build it for him.
Yes, of course.
The Nestines had the Nestine consciousness had the Autons build it for him, or it.
So now he's comfy.
Okay.
All right then. I got
Just
the
went
idea
over a lot of people's heads.
So it took about 10 years for us to figure that answer out. Thank you for that,
you.
Brian. Thank you. So that
I knew it back then.
So from there, they have to. The doctor has to talk the consciousness down to see if it's willing to leave without harming the people. But they
because he doesn't want to kill it.
yes, and then they find his TARDIS and they say this is superior technology. This is threatening to us. And then they also find the anti-plastic that's in his U-boat captain jacket. And then
I wasn't going to use it. I swear.
and then from here we get some more of Rose. Being an active participant in the story.
But before then, we get a little hint, although we don't know what it means.
True.
Oh, well, you forgot to mention that they find Mickey down there.
Yeah, and Mickey's down there, and he's
He's done.
He's alive.
and whimpering.
Yes. With no.
But we
And
we
smelly.
get some hint that something has happened.
Hold on.
The doctor says the Nestine's planet was destroyed, and so it came to Earth because it had nowhere else to
right.
go.
Yes.
He says that
I couldn't save them all.
I couldn't save them all, and I fought in the war. And as a viewer, both as a new viewer and a classic Doctor Who, you're going, what war? What's going on?
Yes.
And we're not told anything else except the Nestine does not like. He says superior technology, but it's also Time Lord technology.
yeah.
So
And it's not just, races that were destroyed. He said worlds.
worlds,
Yeah,
planets,
planets, yeah.
But then in that he fought in the war, so it's like, what does that mean? And so that's where the more antagonism comes from the Nestine consciousness.
Yes.
And also the nesting consciousness they had already on the planet in Spearhead from Space.
And that aired in 1970, I believe.
It was the introduction of the third Doctor and his new companion, Liz. And so they've already tried to take over the world. And so it's not something that's new to the Doctor, but it's new to us, and we didn't need to know it as viewers.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was a nice little, not even an Easter egg, but a nice little
Like a
remembrance
payoff,
of it.
a homage,
Right.
a reference. We'll come back to that.
But just saying that it seemed, if you're watching it without knowing that these could have been a nice group.
We
of
don't know.
Consciousness.
Yeah, we don't know.
But it's like, oh, no, they're not. They were a villain before. They're
Well, just like every human you meet. Well, I take that back. Anyway,
we can edit that one.
back to what you said about Mickey stinking. I think he peed his pants.
It's in a trash can. Come on. Of course it's going to smell.
Oh, yeah, because he was in
because
the
he's-
trash
Trash
can.
can.
Dang.
But it was an. Did you
Yeah.
notice it was an empty trash can?
Yeah.
Well, there was like a cardboard piece in there, so we don't
No,
know.
I think you're right.
I know, but
think
I
it's
wanted-
because-
That's all
I've always wanted to know.
Yeah.
Why would the guy put his trash can out in the street when it's empty?
Well, maybe they came onto that street after the trash.
No, we see the guy bring it out of his
Oh,
house.
you're right.
He wanted
That's
that
probably
one
the
piece of
plan.
cardboard
That's probably
gone.
the plant.
He's an Auton. He's watching Clive.
I think he's thinking because he was in the garbage. I think that was the whole thing.
The trash can smelled too bad.
Yeah.
We
It
took
could
it
have been a
out.
scene because it was
don't-
hot
we
and
don't
sweaty
know.
down there. It was,
Yeah.
yeah. But just her to mention it, there's like,
probably
there seemed
the
to be a
trash
different
can.
scene or just a trash can. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just,
I
it's
thought-
just,
I thought
it was a
it's
trash
just,
can.
it's just more degrading of Mickey.
Yes.
Mickey,
where
right.
it's just like,
Absolutely.
okay, you even after all this, on top of it, you stink.
I mean, it's a great reversal between the traditional.
She loses her love for him at that point.
It's a great reversal between the traditional damsel in distress. We have a Mickey in distress, and where Rose is the active
Right.
participant in the story. And from here, the Doctor is held by two Autons, and Rose does a maneuver much like the Lost World Jurassic Park, where there's so
Not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but there's conveniently something for her to
She got
call
the
upon
bronze.
her
She doesn't do a
gymnastics.
flip. She just swings.
She got the bronze. What was it that she got the bronze in?
Gymnastics.
seventh grade
something
gymnastics.
or
Under
another.
7-year-old
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
gymnastics, she got a bronze.
I got the 7 right.
She's got no A something.
A levels.
A levels.
It's
Is that
a
like a
British
school thing? She doesn't-
College
She didn't go to uni.
high school degree.
Okay.
I think there's O levels and A levels, and A levels I think are better.
She left college or
She's
She
19.
left
C, she
school.
left school.
I think she
Yeah.
said
So I thought it'd be a
school.
higher.
Well, she is with a single mom, so she has to help around the house.
Right.
Anyway, the flat. After that, the Doctor is freed, and then Rose wants to warn her mom that the mannequins are going to come alive. And so we cut to the mom being obtuse and just
No. Because they kill. Because when you freeze her,
No,
when
yeah,
she
the
frees
doctor's
him,
still captured. No.
I thought we established. Anyway,
because when she frees him, the anti-plastic goes into the thing and kills everyone.
Right. So
Or starts
she
to
calls
kill
him
him.
out
While
before
all that's
she freezes.
happening,
That's right.
all chaos is happening
Yes,
outside.
outside.
So then,
It's when they see the TARDIS.
That
That's
they
when
freak
that's
out.
when the Nestine freaks out and starts to send the
signal.
the mannequins to
so
kill
when she
everybody.
calls her mom, it's to see if she's okay after everything that happened. And-
The Nestine sends out Order 66.
No, we're not going there. No.
gotta
I sense a disturbance
Stay on.
right here.
stay on target.
Okay, we can go there.
Sorry, you're saying.
Oh no, just that it was after everything was said and done. She calls her mom after
They save-
robots are
She called her
already.
mom twice. That's the whole thing. It's like she called her mom,
deactivated.
go home. And just, I'm going to go shopping.
But it's cutting out. The signal's cutting out. She's like, I'm going
Oh,
shopping.
no,
Bye.
no.
No?
That's earlier on. She calls her after everything's over to see if everything's okay.
And she's
when
panicking.
she's saved. And everything's done. That's when she calls her the second time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we're not at that point.
So we're not at that point. I'm sorry, I got it confused. So while the signal went out, we lose poor Clive. Poor Clive is gone.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I did write that down. Poor
From the
Clive.
plastic guns in
Yeah.
all the mannequins'
I
hands.
actually, but what's cool about that is it's kind of telling the viewer, whatever, like they're not going to be pulling any punches. Like this is the show. It's
Yeah.
going to be this silly and this dramatic.
And there's
this,
consequences.
Yeah.
But what's also great, back to the Spearhead from Space in 1970, they couldn't break the glass when they first did that episode.
Yeah.
And in this episode, they break the glass in the shops.
Yeah.
Because in the old episode, they cut, so it's just an audio sound effect of them breaking the glass.
Yeah.
But here you actually see it. And I think that's great that we waited 35 years for that to
Breakaway
happen.
glass.
Yeah.
I think doesn't Davey say we fought to get the glass breaking?
Because he's like,
scene?
I wanted to see
I want to see the glass breaking.
break the glass.
Shoot the glass.
You go there.
But I also wanted to point out that the child mannequins are creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so
Because
creepy.
they're not children.
It's so creepy. I love it.
I still have a
And we
problem
did
with
have
the same brand of
female
mannequin
mannequins
across
in that
London.
scene.
Yes, we had female child.
In wedding dresses, because
Yes.
that's all females.
They're all blonde. weren't
And
they?
we also had like children mannequins that were obviously not children
Right.
because they were full figured women in small clothing. So that was really odd too.
Also creepy.
Yes.
Sorry.
But they do dance around like it's an 80s video.
That's what I mean.
That was great.
Yeah. Everybody's doing the robot in this. It's
No,
very
they're all
weird.
doing the robot until they die and then they like get all wobbly and die wobbly.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm like, come on.
So what does the doctor do? Or what happens that they stop working or start?
The
Rose
antiplastic
Rose
gets dropped
hits
into
Rose
the,
hits it,
Okay.
and
into the
the auton gets flipped over.
Into the
Mass
vat.
genocide.
Into the vat.
into the vat
Yeah.
of what was the name of the leader?
Nesting consciousness,
The nesting consciousness.
It's a plasticide at this point.
Antiplastic, he said.
and that falls in because both autons
Oh,
go
I
in.
get
And,
it.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh, for keeping up.
so yeah, so then it blows up. They run into the TARDIS, and he takes
He takes them back.
he takes them
Yeah,
back to.
and then oh no, it doesn't blow up down there.
it kind of blows
kind
up.
of does,
There's
but
a little
yeah.
explosion.
But I did think it's like, well, is the London Eye going to blow up now? But it didn't.
No, but they're
it
in
didn't,
some
apparently.
vat underneath the
Under-
unblended
yeah,
eye.
They're closer to the bridge, aren't they? Not well. Anyway, that's,
No, yeah.
that's not
When
we're
they go
Quibbling.
So after this, Rose then calls her mom and says,
No,
"Are you okay?"
Rose doesn't say a word.
That's right. She
She
calls.
just calls. Jackie says, "Are you okay? Oh my goodness!" And,
and then
Rose hangs up.
She giggles and then hangs up. Right.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, daughter.
Horrible daughter.
It's just that always bugged me.
And then
Yes,
this whole
agreed.
time, Mickey is clutching to Rose for dear life. And the doctor invites Rose. Now we're at like the last act, where the doctor has seen Rose hold her own against all of this crazy danger, this unhuman alien thing, and he invites her to come along with him inside this magical blue box.
That travels through space.
He just mentions just space.
Yeah.
And then she refuses. She refuses the call to adventure. It's only after he comes back.
Wait, though.
Yes.
This is my theory.
Okay.
The doctor says, "Okay, that's fine," and he goes into the TARDIS, and we see the
Well-
TARDIS completely disappear.
Yes.
Now, my theory is that's when he goes off and has other adventures.
Oh.
Okay.
And he can go back in
To
and
JFK.
He goes to JFK
To be that.
because there's no hint that there's a companion during
Yes.
that time. We don't see pictures of him with anybody else.
Because he's
Krakatoa, he's by himself.
the
And-
companion to the family in that drawing.
right,
Or
and he's
photo.
dressed as a butler.
Yeah.
But the Krakatoa drawing, he's dressed as the U-boat
The
captain.
U-boat cap. Yeah.
So,
Which is also looking at the camera.
well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But then it's the doctor, and he's intrigued with Rose.
And he has the same look. He's like, I probably should have gone back.
Yeah, so he goes back, being the doctor, and so the TARDIS reappears. That's always been my theory.
Okay.
I mean, it's in no way suggested
it.
by canon
It
or
works.
anything like that. But that's how I justify it, where it's just
Yeah.
like, that's how we're able to see all this. Because I do believe he recently regenerated.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, he has that break.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back a split second later to Rose
It keeps
and then
thinking,
says,
yeah.
oh, by the way, it also travels through time.
And then-
at that point,
Yeah.
I'm in the box.
Because that's the point that Rose has refused the call to adventure, but then now accepts it. If
She
we-
accepts it because he's basically saying you can still take care of your family.
At this point in the story, yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because her reason for not going was I have to take care of
My mom,
and Mickey, and the people who need me. So he says, if it's a time machine, we can come right back here right now.
True. So that's what that's implying, even though that's not said outright. Yeah. And then
See, I don't.
that's
That's
the-
good.
Well, no,
I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm just this is from the way I watch it is he's actually upping the ante.
Oh,
he's
he
like,
is.
this
Yeah.
goes through space. Oh, by the way, it goes through time.
but he-
and I'm just thinking, it's like, I'm sold. Bye, Mickey.
But that's what's happening emotionally. But what came out of her mouth was, I can't go. I have to take care of these people.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with, you could still take care of these people.
Yeah,
mean,
I
can
agree
see
with that.
Yeah.
Especially if he did go on the other
It's got a double meaning.
time traveling.
Right.
And then going, okay, now that you're in here,
Yeah, maybe-
I went to the here, I went to here, went to the Titanic.
So you
I did
can't
this.
come back. You can't
Yeah,
come back.
like you said, to
Yeah.
further back up what you were saying.
It's just never something that I thought of.
Right.
I just thought of Rose going, this is too cool.
But the doctor's
can
never
pass it
very
up.
good at precise. Well, I guess he is when he wants to be.
Well, he had to think
Because there's so
about
many
it.
times in so many episodes that he lands somewhere different, in a different place or different time. I don't know if the TARDIS takes him there or if he's just
TARDIS
going,
takes him where he needs to
Where he
go.
needs
Oops, sorry.
Also, the doctor lies. Oops.
That's true.
If you want to be a little even
should be a
more
rule.
conspiracy about it, maybe he was looking into the camera and all those photos because he knew that's the path that Rose took to find him. So he actually knew his picture
he
was
is very
being
clever.
taken.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, I like this call to adventure because the whole episode feels like a test for Rose to see if she's worthy of coming into the TARDIS. And then at the very end, we see that, yes, she is. And that's why he invites her at that moment and not before.
But you're not saying it's a real setup test.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just
Because
saying
I think
it feels
it's
like
random that Rose was in the building and the doctor
Yes.
had to save her.
But as a writer,
that's-
I'm thinking this is what
I
makes
see what you're
her-
saying. Yes,
her
absolutely.
worthy to
Yes.
go into the TARDIS with
Yes.
him instead of just
Anybody.
Absolutely.
this episode.
Yeah. Which is why Mickey has to be so pathetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how we forgive that away.
And his mother her mother has to be so whatever she is.
Yes.
But also what she said last to Mickey when she goes up to him and she says, "Thank you." And he's
Yeah.
like, for
For
what?
what?
And she says, exactly.
Exactly.
But I feel like she was playing her role as the doctor because there's that whole
Oh,
interchange.
she's sort of speaking like he speaks.
Yeah, the whole interchange of, well, you're doctor what? Doctor what? Right? Doctor who? And then just like,
Well, for following the traditional hero's journey, that's where she's gained the totems, and now she's using that, and she's leaving the ordinary world to go into the special world with the doctor.
Okay, college boy.
Uni.
I think that's it. Anybody? Let's just go. Final thoughts,
Well, did you want to do the...
or do you want to do more?
Well, I was thinking, I mean, do we want to say
Oh,
the is this an episode you would introduce people
That's,
to Doctor Who?
that's part of the final thought.
So, final thought being, would we use this episode to introduce someone to Doctor Who? Well, it's the pilot. So, yes, I would. I do think that there are episodes later that are even better
True.
and maybe introduce and show things a little clearer. But yeah, you certainly get intrigued by this episode.
Yes.
There are the silly, childish.
Yeah, I think
bits.
there's a couple, like if you tell someone, yeah, you could start with this, but overlook the silliness of the bad guy.
And I mean, I think Eugene, when I recommended Doctor Who to you.
Yes, this was the first one I was introduced to.
And I think I said to you, get past the first couple episodes. And
Wait,
then,
sorry. This was not the first episode I was introduced to for this series. Sorry.
Yeah, because I think I showed you Girl in the
It was
Fireplace.
also Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah. Girl, I think there was
Yes.
3 that I showed you, and you were hooked. But then this one's still good. It shows. I think it does show the potential of what the show was going to become. It just wasn't there yet, obviously.
Yeah,
I
because they
think
had to start
this is the
somewhere.
first
the
show.
pilot.
Yeah.
This is the first show I watched, and it hooked me. And I thought that silly stuff was overly silly. And I thought, well, let me keep. I still liked it. I wanted to see more because I liked him, I liked her, I liked the storytelling, I liked everything about it except some of that little silliness.
And the silliness is what worries me about introducing it to somebody. So I do like to show them
know your
episodes
audience.
that don't have
Yeah.
silliness.
But that being said, my point was when I first started saying what I was just saying was that as a result, it won me over even more because I liked it even considering that.
Yes.
So
that's a good point.
So that's because to me those first 2 episodes, and I think the second episode's even better. That's as silly as any of the shows get.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can watch those first 2 shows,
You're good.
and you're good.
You're fantastic.
I like the first episode. I hated the second episode.
Really.
That's
so
okay.
Eugene had to
get there.
push me to watch the third episode
And that's a
because
good one.
after the
That's a good one,
second
yeah.
episode, I was like, I'm not watching this. I'm like, if this is what it's like, I'm done.
So I tell people get past the first couple.
Then I don't think it's a good episode to start someone with. To watch the
This
show.
one,
Because
this one, yes.
You mean
I
Rose?
mean, when I first watched Rose, I didn't watch the whole episode. I turned it off. So it didn't grab me for some reason.
For someone who loves,
But, once I got into what the pacing was, what the idea was, what the feel of this Doctor, then go back and watch it. Yes, I like it. It's still, I would not pick this as the first episode to show someone. Because they would, like I said, you have to wait and go through. You have to get to the few episodes to get the feel of it. I think later on there are some episodes you can get the feel of it right away.
Yes.
And be part of it. And then you can go back and appreciate what this is and how it started. And it's like everyone's still kind of finding, like this podcast, finding our own legs and seeing how we're going to go with this.
I think if it's not the first episode to show a skeptic.
True.
Know your like you
I
said,
was
know your
totally
audience.
ready. Like everyone loves this so much. There's got to be something in it, and I found something in that first episode, and even the second one. And then I was
I
hooked.
like the second one.
But yeah, if you're kind of feeling waffling about it,
If you're feeling
Like
wibbly wobbly.
timey-wimey,
yeah,
wobbly-wobbly.
exactly. Then yeah, no, I agree.
I think this would be a good episode to introduce people. I think it does a really good job of setting up Rose as a really interesting character, and also it does a great job of leaving open-ended the relationship between the Doctor and Rose. Like you see that there's so much future there, but you're left wanting to see what that future is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think if you do jump ahead, then you sort of lose the momentum of being with her as she discovers this
Yes,
world.
that's true,
Which
too.
is the way we all were with that. So if you do jump ahead, I think if like Frank was saying, if you jump ahead, watch just one to see if you like it, then immediately go back
Yes.
to this one.
Because that's what worked with me, is I was not introduced with Rose, but I went back and watched Rose.
So the girl in
Right.
the fireplace, is that with Rose?
Nope. Well, yes.
Yes.
It's with Rose and Mickey. Well,
And the 10th Doctor, though.
and Tenet.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't
So
know.
good.
I know, but I don't see. I got introduced with Eccleston, so even though I fall for every Doctor, but there's something about him I think I like the most, just because he won me over to this silly world.
You never forget your first Doctor.
Never forget.
Well, the thing was, I was introduced with Tenet, and I had seen a couple of episodes with Tenet because Eugene was really trying to convince me to start watching this. And then I started watching with Eccleston, and I like him so much better than all the other Doctors.
Heresy.
Yes,
Really?
I just love.
He's my
him.
second.
The thing
but
about
Tenet
him
is
is
my
like
first.
and even his outfit, like all the Doctor's outfits were so silly, but it was like bare bones. He won us over with him.
Yeah.
None of
Yeah.
his.
He didn't have trappings.
No trappings.
because that's what he wanted when he signed on for the show. He didn't want the outfit to be
right.
him. He wanted him to be the Doctor.
Right, and it worked, and that's what,
Yes.
and that's the thing. And then I love Tennant, but like that first episode, I'm like, who is this child? What is this? But then I grew it. And I'm fine.
It's the Lion King. Sorry. Spoilers.
No, I just think he's just so charming. There's something about him. There's charisma. There's charm. There's something that draws you to him. The chemistry with the other characters, you just feel more drawn. It doesn't feel as forced. It feels.
He's got a very strong presence.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I wish he had more episodes. I wasn't
I
ready
did.
for him to leave.
I wasn't
Yeah, I
either.
agree.
But I think that's why he's so effective, is that his time is limited.
Yes.
I think that's why.
Yeah.
Because that happens to other people that I've introduced Doctor Who to. They like Eccleston.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. It's whoever, you
It's
like
who
who you
you're
like.
introduced to.
It's whoever you like who you like. There's no rhyme or reason.
Every
The
time I
heart
wasn't
wants
sure
what
about
the
it.
heart wants.
What's that?
The heart wants what the heart wants.
The hearts.
Hearts.
The hearts want what the hearts
Count 'em,
want.
too.
Oh, that's a T-shirt right there. The heart.
The hearts want what the hearts
I think
want.
it's the big ears. Just kind of, you're drawn.
I think that's it. Any other closing thoughts on the episode Rose? Let's rein it in.
Run.
Run.
It's good.
Fantastic, everyone. See you next time.